Hello, welcome to the Broadband Academy. In this module we are going to talk about different types of data cabling tools and the purpose and why they're used. I am going to go right down the line here and talk about each one of these, and you will also be able to read in further detail in the chapter reading. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is types of cable strippers. This is actually a multi-use cable stripper. It will allow you to use a variety of different coax type of cable from RG7, RG11, 6, and 59. You just have to replace or flip this module inside there to do those types of cables. Also, right here allows you to use any type of UTP, unshielded twisted pair copper strippers. It also has a cutting device right here to cut your cable. So this is quite a useful tool when doing any type of data cabling. This is another type of stripper. This is just strictly for coaxial types of cables. You'll strip actually the outside insulation and to exact measurement, so your F connector or BNC connector or any type of coaxial connector can be crimped on or compression fitted. Next, I want to talk about is one of your most useful tools is a utility knife. This here has a hook blade. As you probably have seen before, a regular standard razor blade is straight and flat with a point. This is a hook blade, so it allows you to actually hook the cable, the outside insulation, to pull that back. Also in cable insulation, we have many different types of cable strippers where you can come down to the actual conductor, or with fiber optics you can actually strip the actual coating off. That's what this is for. Here is a couple different types of diagonal cutters, different sizes, and you use for cutting multiple cables. This is an actual called electrician scissors, or snips, and it will cut, believe it or not, it will cut a penny in half. That's how strong they are. You also have two grooves here which will allow you to actually strip the conductors if needed to for any type of termination. Next down the line here we have our RJ Crimpon connectors. This will let you do a 6-pair RJ11C, and then an RJ45, which is this type of connector. It has 8 pins. They call that an RJ45 for Ethernet cabling. And then also a RJ11, which has just 4 conductors. So all these, once you have your cable in here, they'll slide into place, and you just take this device and crimp it, and that way it'll seat, these connectors will seat into individual conductors. Next is a type of coaxial compression fitting. This compression tool will allow you to compress any type of coaxial from RG59, RG6, RG11, and any type of BNC or RCA type of connector. Our next tool here is our punch down tool, our handy data punch down tool, which will allow you to punch down 110 blocks, okay, or 110 connectors, like so, and they'll punch right down, and I'll just do one here and cut those cables off. This will also do any type of M66 block. It has another tool inside that little holder, and they're interchangeable. They just go in like so. This is an RJ45 keystone jack. That's what these are used for, but this is a very useful tool in any type of data cabling. On our next device, I want to show you fish tapes. I have 2 different types of fish tapes. This is actually a fiberglass rod, okay, that you can fish conduits, walls, and so forth. And then you have a steel fish tape, and both are still used during any type of insulation or fishing walls or conduits. Pulling cable through that once the actual walls are finished. That's what these devices are. This next device is a gopher pole, and you can attach numerous ones depending on the length and how you want to run. This one is approximately 4 or 5 feet long, and you just keep adding on gopher poles by screwing them into the end device. And you'll use these to fish usually cable trays. Here we're going to start looking at our test gear. This device is a multimeter, which will also allow you to do any type of data wire mapping. As you can tell, RJ45 has 8 conductors, and there's our patch cord device, and our other end device is in the cable. So you put one on one end, this slides off, and then the other end you put your patch cord in, and that will test from end to end for any type of Ethernet cabling, patch cords, and so forth. Now, to track down certain types of cables, you need a toner and probe, and that's what this device is. You'd actually put this in an outlet, and you can actually track it down where the end device is by that tone. You can hear that. So identifying cable that way just makes your job a little bit easier. Here is another type of end-to-end testing to make sure all your conductors are terminated in the right positions for any type of Ethernet cabling, patch cords, and any telephone line cords. These are just a couple of these different types. And you would just cycle through end to end to make sure everything's working properly. Our last test gear meter that we're going to take a look at is a power meter and light source. This will actually test any type of multi-mode or single mode fiber. Here the connectors go into that device. You'll turn on, and then you'll have another device at the far end to see what our actual light strength going down multi-mode or single mode fibers. And you'll have the different types of setting. You can set up different types of wavelengths to see what you want to test for. One of the last things I want to show you is our heavy duty cable lubricant, and we use this for any type of underground conduit or anywhere where you're going to have multiple cables pulling and it's hard. So this lubricant will allow that cable to be pulled evenly so you don't damage the cable by pulling too hard or breaking it. So that's what this lubricant does. That concludes the data cabling tools.